exclusively as a matter of fact. I don't think that they would even include.
Reviews are starting to pour in, and well, it's not looking too good for this wannabe feminist superhero. It's still a little early to tell completely, but the mixed to positive reviews coming out now are certainly not a good sign. Keep in mind, Marvel movies are set at a higher standard than most. After over a decade of films and over a dozen releases, they damn well better be too. So, with that said, Captain Marvel scoring a middling 82% on Rotten Tomatoes right now isn't a good sign, especially this early on. Last year's Black Panther ended up with a whopping 97% with critics.
Cool.
I
should do this right. You're using your noggin, sir. Your noggin?
Use your noggin a bit. Right, use your noggin. But these bad reviews coming in are, of course, being brushed off by the pro-Captain Marvel social justice warriors, who are co-opting this movie for their bullshit feminist causes. For example, one website, the much-detested Mary Sue website, they even tweeted out this abomination, saying, all the negative reviews for Captain Marvel are from men. And not only is this divisive and a dramatic thing to say, but it's also patently false and untrue. Just take a look at this image of a number of females who reviewed this movie negatively. Kristen Lopez said it was a great superhero origin story hobbled by the corporation using it for their own selfish purposes. Sounds like she liked it enough, but all this negative SJW press nearly ruined the film for her. Sounds pretty reasonable to me too. Then Laura Clifford said, Marvel not only finds itself lagging behind DC with its first female superhero, but utterly losing the contest. Captain Marvel is a boring mishmash of ideas from a score of other movies and franchises. See, I've heard stuff like this before too. To me it sounds like Captain Marvel could be trying to throw too much in there. Too many chefs in this kitchen. The female stuff, the feminism, and other Marvel characters, and also a tie into the next Avengers movie. That's a lot to balance and pull off at once. And now that Disney is getting overly involved too, pushing this SJW shit and warping the press coverage of it as well, Captain Marvel's fate could be worse than we thought, guys. And of course, there's many other negative Captain Marvel reviews from women out there too, so I really don't know why the Mary C website is lying about this. They are widely known to be an SJW rag magazine, so I guess we shouldn't be too surprised, but why don't we go ahead and take a look at their article anyway and see what they wrote about this. The name of their article has changed recently though. I guess they were already called out for blatantly lying about this, so the piece is now titled Captain Marvel is Fun, and most of the negative reviews are written by men. Shocking. And well, I see they are walking back that definitive statement that all bad reviews are from men. Frankly, I think they should have taken down this whole article and apologized, but I'll also take what I can get here. So let's go ahead and see what else they have to say. I can't say I'm surprised that most of the negative reviews of Captain Marvel are written by men. I saw the movie last night. I'm not going to write up all my feelings, but the movie, it's a fun origin story. A movie look at a hero and fits perfectly with the MCU. So their problems with the movie seem strange. A lot wanted more of a girl power vibe, which it doesn't need. Well, the writing on this article is what seems strange to me. First of all, like the movie, it's a fun origin story. Sounds like poor syntax.
String him up in his toes.
The movie is a fun origin story, but hey, I'm just a simple man with simple pleasures. Next, let's go back to the beginning of this, where the writer says they're not surprised most of the negative reviews are coming from men. Well, yeah, I'm not surprised either, and it's for a number of perfectly logical and easily identifiable reasons. Like how about the fact that most of the fans and people going to see Marvel movies are men? Men like action and comic books more, just like how women like romantic comedies and makeup more. And they also like complaining more too, but that's a whole other story. The other reason no one wants to talk about here is the fact that most movie reviewers are men too, and there's nothing wrong with that either. Men like reviewing movies more.
I don't remember pressing that button.
Gravitate to professions related to that. Like,
I think I'm losing my mind. Well, okay, I guess it's rolling. Here I am talking to the air like I just don't care. I didn't even know that the damn thing was on. Well, I suppose or should move this little bad boy so that I can see my eyes in the thing, well, at least. One of these days. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong.
Pure organic stevia, no sugar, no calories.
Well, oh shit. I nixed myself there. Blue light is not very kind. Red light's always better.
particularly white ones actually. We tend to like doing
You know, it's funny when you watch yourself talk on camera because there's always a bit of a lag. So you hear your voice and then you see your mouth moving. It's like a Chinese movie. You killed my brother. Your hair to die.
Would you say it's sexist how most teachers are women?
Oh, goodness gracious, man.
And most rational people would say the truth. Most teachers are women because more
Good day,
females
good
want to be
day.
teachers. Just like how most movie reviewers are men because most
Had one
females
person,
want to review movies. And more
I
males
think on my
watch
thing,
comic book movies as well.
my
So
YouTube
the whole
thingy.
premise of this article is
I don't know why I don't really like to
right from
talk
the beginning.
when I'm
Part of
doing
the
my
problem,
stuff, but
quote, problem
I
with
guess it's
Captain
just because
Marvel
I'm
is that
really
people
just
were angry that she had a feminist agenda. I guess
really
by just
pretty.
being
Oops,
a woman
I
in
couldn't be
existence,
quiet,
I
man.
think I need
It's
to use
cool.
like
I
a girl voice
appreciate
for
it.
this.
Thank you. This is just because I'm really more doing this for myself. Not really trying to get lots and lots of views or subscribers. People that are like, well, we love you because it's cool. I mean, I love me, so I mean, not to be a dick about it, but enough to have self-respect. Self-respect, that is. I'm probably talking a little bit too silently. Un momento, por favor. I will be right back. I'm just going to shut that door right there because I don't want to annoy any of the other occupants of mi casa. Mi casa, mi casa es su casa. Boo-ba-doo-boo-boo. Oh, I love playing around. It's so much fun. People are just, they don't have fun anymore. We just got a new roommate today, and we did lose another roommate. Dude, what a tool. That guy was the biggest, I wouldn't say biggest, he wasn't very big. He's actually kind of scrawny little twerp, but he was a total tool. I mean, I don't know what was wrong with this kid. There was definitely something wrong with him. I would say like a bit of psychopathy, maybe. I'm not a registered, psychologist or whatever they're called. But no, like, when you talk to them, you kind of get the feeling that you're not really talking to, a person who's living in the machine. It's like the lights are on, but the ghost has vacated the vicinity. Really, really kind of creepy the first time you run into a situation like that where it's like they kind of just shut down, like they just go completely dead. And you're like, whoa, that's kind of weird. So, for example, watching something, he would he would be in the car, right? And I'm in between doing different jobs, and I'm just kind of taking him around, showing him the area, and he's having a good time, and he's all excited about new things. He's like, oh yeah, and blah, 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 and da, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, all right, man, all right, hang on 1 second, I gotta do this real quick, find out where I'm going, and call the next client and see what we're gonna do. And he's like, and there's just like that. Super freaking creepy. I've never had anybody act that way. I've never experienced anybody act that way in my life. I mean, dude, when that hits you, you're like, whoa, what in the world is going on? And mind you, I wasn't afraid of him. I mean, I'm a lot bigger than he is, and I know that I can take care of myself, but at the same time, you're just kind of a little bit on edge, a little uneasy, because you're just like, I need to keep an eye on this guy, just because it's bizarre. I don't know. I've met people before where you're like, yeah, that guy's a psycho. Well, no, he's a douche. He's a typical, narcissistic, egotistical douche who thinks he's like God's gift to fucking everything, and whatever. But this is the first time I actually really met somebody legitimately who gave me the heebie-jeebies or the Jeepers Creepers. It was really very bizarre. I mean, I'm glad that I had the experience of meeting somebody like that without having, rat poison dumped in my oatmeal, or, the whole psycho Bates Motel thing when you're in the shower going on. But man, like what a creepy experience. There's so many creepy things. And then right before he actually left, his whole demeanor, his whole like, because he was claiming to be some kind of like hippie type kind of person. I'm like, yeah, okay. He's like, oh yeah, I'm really peaceful, man. I'm really peaceful, blah blah blah. And his whole demeanor just flipped 180. He was just completely vacant, and incredibly dismissive of everything. It seemed as if there was no emotion at all whatsoever. Just very, man. So in the future, obviously, gonna have to watch out for that because I don't want to have another situation like that again. I literally went so far as to shut up. I literally went so far as to uh, take all of the sharp, pokey objects out of the kitchen or anywhere really that I could find and put them in my room because I just had my girlfriend move here from China. I'm like, dude, you know what? The last thing I need is to find some shit happen. You know what I mean? That changes your life forever because you fucking trusted some psycho to room with. So yeah, I thought ahead for that one. Got any blunt objects we could find, put them up. Got all the pokey stuff, put them up, and then just all the lights on in the house. And I was just like, boom, ultra vigilant. I was like, if you step out, I told him, I was like, dude, don't cause any trouble while you're here, because he did tell me that he was leaving, but you know, still, he was like, I'm gonna leave in a week, which he actually ended up leaving in a couple of days, which is fine for me. I don't care. I'm glad he left, but you just never know. You never know with people like that, Crazy, crazy. But enough of that psychopath, and I'm going to say psychopath because I really believe that this kid is a legitimate psychopath. Back on a brighter note, got a new roommate. I think her name's Heather. Don't quote me on it. I'm horrible with names, but I think it's Heather, and she is a swim coach. She's in her mid-20s. Super cool already. I like her already. She's really sweet, very very nice, down to earth, friendly. So that's cool. I like that. We need that. We've had some dark energy kind of rolling through this house lately, and I don't know what the reason is that this has been happening, but we've been getting a lot of people that they're just the kind of people that that they don't want to really interact with anyone. They get up in the morning, they leave right away, they come back from, they go right to their bedroom. You just really never see them at all, and you really only talk to them in passing just here and there. And it's just kind of, it's a strange thing for me because I mean, if I'm living with somebody, I kind of want to know something about the people that I live with, and I'm not sure why that is, but I don't know. I guess maybe it just helps me better understand my surroundings. I don't really know. I can't really say, but I just do. I want to know. I want to know the people I live with. I want to know, that you can learn things. There's all kinds of neat things you can learn from people. Even if you don't think you can. Like this psychopath. I learned a lot of things being around this psychopath because I'd never been exposed to that before. I'd never seen that firsthand. I mean, I've seen it in other people, like kind of third party, like a bit removed, but not actually directly, interacting with it myself. And that's a bit different, I think. So, wow, just craziness. But I'm glad that I did get that chance because it really did help me kind of understand some things to look out for in the future, and maybe even in dealing with like business people, because I know that psychopaths have a tendency to be really good with business because they don't have any remorse. So for them to lie about something that would benefit them but would greatly would affect you adversely greatly, is like nothing, you know. That's it's so seeing the little mannerisms and characteristics, the physical cues that I witnessed this psychopath display really kind of woke me up to the reality of what the heck is out there. Um, but yeah, no, that's good. So we have also another roommate who will be moving out, and so then I'm now looking for. Well, actually, coming back to, I should probably check my Roomster account. So we will be looking for another roommate. So this is the roommate the roommate who's moving out. He's the roommate who kind of is. I would say he's a bit on the darker side as far as like pleasantry is concerned. He's not overtly a bad person. Obviously, he just wants to keep to himself. But then it makes the whole kind of living situation suck. And not only that, but his work hours, his living hours are completely opposite of mine. I'm a night owl type kind of person. I'm very cerebral most of the time, and I do stay up a lot, and I don't get a great deal of sleep. Sometimes I will get maybe a few hours of sleep a night, just because that's, I don't know, that's just the way that my brain works, and I seem to be okay with it for the most part. But he is, you know, a normal person with a normal sleep cycle, and you know he has the whole. He's a military recruiter for the Air Force, and so he has that really very strict, you know, lifestyle. You wake up at like 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning, whenever he wakes up. I'm normally up anyway when he's up, but I've been up sometimes, or sometimes, you know, I just take naps here and there whenever I need to. But you know, he's got that very regimented life, that very regimented schedule. My life is not like that at all, and you know, I use a lot of loud music when I'm, you know, training or working out or doing things, and obviously he's not like that. He's kind of like a boring old man, you know, and you know, he's a young black guy, good-looking guy. I honestly think he's probably closeted gay a little bit, which I don't really care about, you know what I mean? Because we had another guy who was closeted gay, very, very closeted gay. I would bet money that this guy was gay, but he was from, where was he from? Atlanta, Georgia. Anyway, I don't really know much about it from what I've heard other people tell me, and I don't know if this is true because I've never been there, is that, you know, it's like one of those things where, like, you know, the gays there are very closeted just because it's, you know, it's the culture there. I mean, again, I don't know. Not been there. Maybe you all know. If you do, let me know, man. Tell me, because I'm curious. But no, for real, this guy was so effeminate. He was literally like a female wearing like one of those, like, you know, purple or pink sweater vests with, you know, a polo underneath it, like a salmon colored polo, and you know, maybe some light pastel blue khaki type kind of pants, you know, something like that. It was very, you know, very, very effeminate. You know, it's funny. The first time I saw him with his shirt off, I was a little bit shocked because he he had boobies, man boobies, you know, like the banana kind. I mean, you know, he's a nice guy, and he was working on losing weight, because apparently he was a lot heavier prior. But you know, I was like, oh man, dude, that's, you know. And it was funny because we were talking about working out, and at that time we had another roommate in the house who was a ex-military guy. I think he was airborne. I don't know, one of the airborne infantry or whatever, something like that. I'm not really big on the whole military stuff. I don't really know all the designations, codes, and badging. But he was definitely, you know, kind of like one of the more batter-asser type kind of, you know, dudes in the military. I think it was a pretty. I don't even know what branch it was. I think it was the Army, though. Yeah, it must have been the Army because it wasn't the Marines. Those guys, obviously, you know, they like Rocky, man, eating fucking thunder and crap and lightning. But so he was around, and then, you know, we have a gym set, you know, in our backyard. We have, you know, the squat rack. We have, you know, like 300 or 400 pounds in Olympic weights, and we have a dip rack, pull up rack, and then, you know, lots of kettlebells, and then we have a whole rack of assorted Olympic dumbbells as well. And then we have like I think it's like a 600-pound earth mover or land mover tire, not a tractor tire, or like the giant ones. They're huge. I think it's like the tire is almost like over 6 feet tall when standing up. It's just enormous. I wouldn't want to flip it myself. It can be done, but it's not fun. Actually, I had another roommate who was drunk one time and decided to flip it as showing off in front of people, and then he pulled his back. He's like, "Hey, Jake, man, my back hurts, bro. Can I get some fucking ibuprofen?" I'm like, "Oh man, what'd you do?" He's like, "Oh man, I flipped that tire on a bet." I was like, "Oh man, that's not a flipping tire, homie." I was like, "I know, man, but I was on a bet and I was drunk. You know how I get when I get drunk." So it was super funny. But back to Air Force guy, and he also I got my bachelor's degree in exercise physiology and a minor in dance kinesiology, and he got his bachelor's degree in nutrition science. So, and he was also a registered dietitian. No, he wasn't a registered dietitian. I'm sorry, he was a certified nutritional specialist. There's a difference between the two. Anyway, and he was also an NSCA, so that's National Strength and Conditioning Association. I forget my acronym sometimes. Certified personal trainer. And he was really big into a lot of the HIIT workouts and then powerlifting type kind of workouts. It was just something he really liked to do. He wasn't a very big guy though. He wasn't a very big guy, and he also wasn't very strong. But he had a fucking amazing body though, because he was tall. He was like 6'2", had a waist, like his waist was super tiny, ultra broad shoulders, pretty decent chest. I mean, he wasn't thick, but he fills out suits well, so he would be a really good like runway model for a man. And he had a really good looking face, so for print and advertising, things like that, he would have been really great. But wasn't his thing, so more power to him. He went on to go to the police academy, so that's why he moved out of here. So I guess when you join the police academy, or you need to relocate to a specific jurisdiction, I really don't know how it works. But anyway, that's that. So we were talking about the weights, and Butler. I'm just gonna say Butler. Sorry, his name's Butler. The effeminate gay guy that we had in the house. Butler was talking about losing weight and his man boobies, and we were like, I was like, man, it looks like you've lost a lot of weight since you've been here, in which he had, because when he first got here, he was fairly round, really robust through the middle. And I was like, yeah, man, it really does look like you're losing weight. He's like, oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you. He's like, dude, I mean, you should just like lift weights when we're training, when we're training in the gym here. He's like, that's not a gym. We're like, oh my God, dude, you are so prissy. I'm pretty sure he never really, when he goes to the gym, he doesn't pick up heavy things ever. I'm pretty sure he just grabs his Cosmo magazine and gets on the treadmill, puts it in a fat burner zone and he reads through the articles of how to please your man. I'm being an asshole, but I imagine that happening in my brain, because I never saw him once communicate with a female on a not feminine level. I mean, when guys talk to dames, when men talk to dolls, when obviously when a male is conversing with a female, there's a heterosexual male with heterosexual female. There's a certain dialogue that happens, and it's it's even if it's what do you say, unintentional, or awkward or confident or flirtatious or even kind of jerky, that happens between the two sexes back and forth. And that's just how men and women kind of court one another. Sometimes it's more successful than others, and you obviously have to feel out the other person's personality. And if they're being playful, you can be playful back. And now if they're being a little aggressive, you can be aggressive. Things like that. You got to be able to understand that kind of stuff, obviously. But with him, with Butler. And ironically, the army guy, his name was Jake. My name. Crazy, right? So I thought, I was like, hey, Jake, good name, man. You're going to be awesome. Move in here. And he turned out to be okay. You know, he was all right. But, you know, again, kind of really into his own agenda. Didn't really care about anybody else. But, you know, at least he paid the rent and he wasn't a complete douche. But he did have his douchey moments. Oh, gosh. Well, he was very conscientious of who he was with at the time, regardless of whether or not behind closed doors he considered himself friends with that person, or even just like decent acquaintances with that person. Like, for example, if he were to make plans to go out to one of the clubs in Scottsdale, he would, like, for my other roommate Lewis, is not the most socially graceful individual, although he means well some of the times, and some of the times he's just a sour patch. But that's just how he is. But you know, at the same time, you know, I've always known this about him, and I've never not invited him when we were close friends, even when we were just acquaintances, to social gatherings. I've always been like, hey man, we're gonna be doing this. You want to come along? I always felt like that was just the polite thing to do, and I'm not really afraid of being judged by knowing somebody that is socially awkward. It's like, all right, yeah, well, he's a little bit like that, you know, whatever. Um, However, this Jake, I call him Jake 2, or Skinny Jake, or Tall Skinny Jake, I don't know. Jake 2 was very conscientious of being judged unfairly by, say, associates. It was almost like a high school cliquish type kind of thing, really. It was almost like, no, you're not one of the cool kids. You can't sit at the cool kid table. And that was strange because I've never really known an adult to behave in that way. Certainly the adults that I've known in my life, well, most of the people that I've associated with in my life, ironically, or, you know, luckily, have been very educated. I've been very, very lucky to have had that kind of luck, to have met, you know, people who were educated, because when I grew up I had no guidance whatsoever. But I mean, I knew intrinsically that I needed to get out of the situation I was in, right, you know, initially, and I knew that if I stayed there I would die. It would literally, not only figuratively but probably you know, physically as well, kill me, because, you know, there's a lot of drugs, a lot of gang violence, and, you know, it's just a shithole. And my father's Latino, my mother's white. My dad's side of the family, they're all, you know, dark to medium khaki brown, and, you know, I come out, you know, fair as this coconut Red Bull can right here, and you know, so growing up in a Latino barrio in West Phoenix was interesting, shall we say? Let's just, you know, if you could put a bullseye on your back, yeah, I had it. You know, that's one of the reasons why I don't get it with all these people, you know, going on about race and shit like that. It's like, dude, get the fuck over it. Be a human being to one another. You know what I mean? You're on this damn planet, they're on this damn planet. We all got to get along and figure out a way to, you know, perpetuate the species into the future, because tomorrow's not guaranteed, as a lot of the, you know, I guess greater thinkers have said, and you know, and it makes sense, because a lot of extinct species out there, right? Over like 99% of all species are now extinct, and I guess we're going through like the 6th global mass extinction right now, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. Because, you know, you think about mass extinctions, like boom, they all went away. But no, I mean, I guess, like, you know, if we were in those different mass extinctions, we would see things changing. Where climate would change, disease would be introduced, new predators would be around. You'd have, you know, different cataclysms, you know, just all kinds of different things going on. And I guess you would see certain species just fall off that were acclimated to a particular type of ecosystem, and when that ecosystem collapsed, you have a new ecosystem, and when that becomes stable, those life forms that are around then take foothold and then run with it, and then so on and so forth. And we could be one of those species that kind of like is in the next collapse. Probably not though, because I mean, I'm not going to say no, but I would wager to bet not, simply because we are intelligent enough to come up with some way of existing. I mean, at least even if it's like a minimal level of existence, because I mean, in the past there have been global cataclysms, and even our early ancestors were intelligent enough. Granted, they were also a lot more physically robust, but they were still intelligent enough to figure out a way to survive. And I think honestly, even if they were more physically robust, I really believe that it was mostly their intelligence and their ingenuity that allowed them to survive those things. Because I mean, strength is great, but when you're coming across something, when you need to figure out new situations and adapt, I think that's really when intelligence comes into play. And so back to the roommates. Sorry, I digressed. I think I was talking about, and honestly, I don't know who I was talking about. I was definitely talking about Jake. I don't know how I got off on that tangent, but we were talking about Jake, and I really don't know where we were going with that story. He was not an uber douche, cool guy for the most part, but yeah, conscientious of those with whom he associates with, and not really even close friends, but just acquaintance level. Like, I'm not going to party with you. I'm not going to invite you out to the club. You can't have a beer with me and my buddies that I don't know because I just moved into town and I met them on fucking some app on the phone. I mean, come on. Like the first day that, the first weekend that he moved out here, I mean, we were cool. Like we broed out like right away because we're both gym guys. But I honestly think a lot of his broing out was like hella fake. I think he was just doing that because it's like, hey, I just want to like get in here, make it easy, be able to kind of like get the run of the house the way I want, and the best way to do that is to fucking, act in a way that will allow me to, I don't know, maybe manipulate the situation. I don't know if he was manipulating me, but he definitely made me like him a lot more because I was like, yo, dude, we're homies. And it turns out we weren't homies. We were just on paper homies, right? But we weren't really like, we were skin deep, not blood deep, so to speak. So to speak. Soda, and speak. No, just kidding. But no, for real, we were definitely skin deep. Um, so yeah, that was him. And then, there are a lot of people like that. I've never been like that. I don't know why, but I think about things a lot more. Maybe, maybe I think about things a lot more from the other person's perspective. And in the past, that's kind of gotten me into kind of the shit with other people because I almost take pity on others who I ought not to take pity on. And then, kind of like give aid to those who are not really deserving of aid. But it's also come in handy because I have been in situations where I was able to lend a helping hand, and really actually cause profound change in a positive way in other people's lives in the future, um, from that point on in the past. So moving forward, back to the future. But and then when I saw those changes manifest in that person's life or those people's lives, I was really happy. Is that I could be a part of that. It makes you feel good. It's like planting a tree and then watching it grow, and then you see it. I don't know if this is a good analogy or not, but then you see it's like an awesome tree, and you're like, dude, that's an awesome tree. I remember when it was a little acorn, man. That was cool. So I don't know, but yeah, that was cool. So DJ, I forget. I don't know why he's called DJ. I should probably find out the names of my roommates prior to letting them move in because I just got take it at face value. Damn, I am fucking naive, I always want to be like, hey man, don't worry about it. You don't need a contract. You don't have enough money this month. Don't worry about it. It's cool. You'll get me next month, dude. Don't worry about it. You know what? It's helped me actually, but it's also hurt me because it's been really easy to rent the rooms out. But then you also get people who are kind of wishy-washy here and there. But it's never been terrible. It's always been a bit It's always been manageable. But I think it would be a bit better if I just start doing like the whole contractual agreements where we're, writing down numbers and agreeing upon terms and conditions and et cetera, et cetera. And I should probably find out a lot more about the background history of those people who are living with me. I kind of thought that I was a good judge of character. Well, I believe that I was actually, but I think that the problem is when I meet people, I tend to give others the benefit of the doubt, regardless of how I'm feeling in that moment. So, for example, the psychopath who was living here, I was like, I don't really feel right about this guy, but I'm gonna give him a shot. Oh, dummy, stupid, just stupid. Oh, but hey, I'm not afraid to take a risk, and it could have turned out really cool because honestly, it could have gone both ways because he did seem to be really cool for a little while. And if that person had been a legitimate, real person, like I feel like we could have been friends for a very long time. And, who knows? You know what I mean? Maybe business partners, or you just never know where those types of things go. But it turned out to be fake. And he turned out to be, again, what I believe to be a legitimate, dyed in the wool. That's a weird term, dyed in the wool. I wonder where that came from. Anyway, psychopath. Yeah, crazy. So back to DJ. Don't know his name. Don't know where he came from. Need to check into that shit more often. Write that down. Yeah. So really doesn't communicate with anyone very much, and he is I believe an Air Force recruiter. He has a high sense of entitlement. He believes, and at least he does demand a lot of things kind of revolve around him. So, for example, his schedule is the most important. His space is the most important. His comfortability is the most important. That sort of thing. His time is the most important. And again, I do believe that he is also a closeted gay, because I catch him staring at me when he's speaking to me, when he does take the few moments to speak to me, in a very kind of almost like bedroom eye type kind of like, oh, hey, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, just gonna go to the gym right now. Are you going to the gym later? Yeah, type kind of deal. I'm like, all right, come on, dude. It's okay. I'm not gonna judge. You can come out. You can bring your boyfriend over. I don't care. Same thing with Butler. I didn't care. I could care less. We took him to a gay club. I knew the owners. And I was like, man, he's going to have a good time here. He's going to be able to have fun, let loose. He'll know that we don't give a shit, that we're like, hey, man, could be you. We're not going to judge. But it was funny because the guy started flirting with him, and he's like, ooh, oh my God, get away from me, you freak. And then I was like, even that was gay. But, it's funny. I was like, can you believe that guy thought I was gay? Really? No way. Shocker. How could he? How dare he? I don't know, man. That was funny. Because we all thought he was gay. And then actually, myself and Lewis, we were actually somewhat shocked. We're like, he's not gay? Oh, shit. Well, we fucking totally misread this situation. I was like, well, maybe he's just a very effeminate man. And I mean, I suppose you can be that way, but he had so many feminine and homosexual mannerisms. And I mean, I don't mean that in a nasty way, but like the gay men that I've known who were doctors, they're very particular, they're very like almost, they pride themselves on their elegance. They wear Versace suits, and they're almost like the poodle of their breed. And that's kind of how he wanted to come across, at least through his like fashion sense and his demeanor and his presentation, even though he was, overweight. He at least was a decent looking in the face person. I would go so far as to say he was probably a pretty boy in the face. Um, he had like bleached white teeth, like neon white teeth. And it's funny because Jake 2's thing that he was pumping for a while actually said, "Oh my God, your teeth are so white," and he goes, "Thank you." And she even goes, "Oh my God, gay." But whatever. It's funny, it's funny. The little hangups that people get caught up on and allow to, rule their life and dictate their destiny. If you want to sound like very grandiose, but yeah, I mean, if he is actually gay, I mean, wouldn't he be better off actually expressing himself in that way? I mean, I don't know, because I guess I would say, since I'm a heterosexual man, it would be pretty awful to not be able to express myself in a heterosexual manner, which is actually kind of, oddly enough, happening in society now. It's almost like being a heterosexual man is not really even, it's like it's looked upon by a lot of the society as a negative thing. Certainly when I was going to college, man, I'd never experienced anything like that in my life, because I mean, I'm used to playing sports and giving high fives and smacking, my friends on the ass and be like, "Yo, bro, man, good job, man, kill it, total bro locker shit, low key nerd, because fucking I can't help it. I love to learn things and study all the time. I mean, I'd rather read than, and I don't mean like read like novels and shit. I'd rather read like, factual information and learn something about something that I just can't get over. Whatever it is, I always get like a little itch. I need to know something and I have to go get it. I'd rather do that than watch, football. You know what I mean? Which is funny because I was playing football, and the only thing I really ever watched football was to analyze, how the athlete actually moved and generated power from a kinesthetic uh, levers and pulleys system type kind of fascination. But as far as the game went, I didn't really care too much about it. It's like, yeah, well, I understand. We'll do this and we'll do that. But I don't need to watch the plays. I don't care. Show me the cliff notes. It's never been something I really gave a shit about. Baseball either. I don't understand how the hell people get into baseball. I had a girlfriend who was into baseball, largely probably because the dad was into baseball. I don't know why he was into baseball. Maybe because his dad was into baseball. But that game, I mean, it took me one time in that game. And I swear to God, I've never really actually watched an entire baseball game except for that time. And I really had a difficult time watching because I was so freaking bored the entire time. Baseball has got to be the absolute most boring next to golf sport. But golf is golf. I don't know. I wouldn't call golf a sport as much as I would a game. I mean, because would you call pool a sport or croquet a sport? I don't think so. But definitely a game which requires skill. Like darts, it's a game, but I wouldn't call a dart player an athlete. I wouldn't call a bowler an athlete either. Anyway, what was I talking about? Let's see here. Back to baseball. Yeah, baseball has got to be the most boring thing on the planet. I was like, how can? Okay, I can see if you have nothing better to do except for whack some kind of like rudimentary spherical object with a big branch that you found somewhere in a field, and it's like, hey, we're gonna play tag. Yeah, okay, well cool. We'll play tag. We'll play tag with the ball. All right, yeah, cool. And then, so what you do is you're gonna smack the ball, and then we'll catch the ball, and then you can get to these little safe areas, and then you're safe there. We won't, we can't tag you, but if you can get all the way around, you get a point. I'm guessing that's how that shit came around. I have no idea because I don't know anything about baseball, but I guess because when you're bored, you come up with stupid shit. Like fuck, you're bored if you're bored and let's say you're tied to your bed for whatever reason and you can't move, you will be staring at the ceiling like making the little popcorn thingies in the ceiling. You'll be like imagining a little shows going on. Actually, your brain will do it for you. You don't even have to do anything. It's automatic. You just start seeing like faces in the clouds, basically. And so I guess if you're really bored, you're just going to invent some shit to kind of occupy your mind, which is what I suppose baseball is. Now, golf, I think it was probably just invented because you had rich people who wanted to enjoy the countryside. It's like, hey, let's do something whilst we're doing this. Same with croquet, I imagine. But I don't know again because I'm not into that kind of crap. Baseball. Yeah, where was I? Oh, yeah. We're talking about sports. Back to... Damn, where the hell was I? Completely forgot. Sports. How did we get to that? Baseball.
So you all moved in? Not really.
Who?
I just got in this morning. And how did her mom meet your dad exactly?
Damn, I have no idea. Totally lost. Hopefully I made a point with that. Maybe I'll remember it and go back to it. But I do believe that I was talking about DJ.
Yes, please don't.
And oh yeah,
Let's not
well,
live their meet cute any more than we have to.
right.
And you guys just I was
Butler,
I've been out of school and the timing had just never worked.
Jake's
out.
girlfriend,
What does that mean?
white teeth. Oh, thank you. Okay. Oh my. Hey, hold on. Oh my. And it's funny. He actually had a couple of oh my moments to myself and to other Jake. So he goes to the girlfriend. He's a drinker, right? He's not Jake, but Butler. But Jake was a drinker too, but army style drinking, like not regular drinking, like you come home and have yourself a martini or whatever the fuck you drink. But like go out and party and get fucking trashed on the weekends, type kind of drinking. Whereas Butler is like he would come home and need to have the like kind of housewife buzz going on until he passes out. and that's just legitimately how he was. But so in one of his like kind of buzzed moments, he kind of let slip kind of the way he felt about Jake. So I suppose he was pretty attracted to him because he walks by his girlfriend, and Jake's girlfriend, and they just got done, throwing a triple X throwdown, you know what I mean? And I guess he layeth the smacketh on her Rudy Poo candy apple posterior. Shake that posterior! And Butler's like, hey, you gonna hit that again? And then she's like, I hope so. And then he goes, I would. And he walks away. And I don't know if he actually realized that he said that because he might have not caught it, and it just let slip because he'd been drinking. And it was late in the night, so obviously as the night progresses and you drink more and more, you become a bit less inhibited with what you say, and also not quite as guarded with what you say, and so again, things slip out. I would. And the one time I think I spoke about this in another video that I did briefly, but one time, I was kind of in the locker, like football locker, jock mentality for whatever reason. I don't know why, but I was walking through the house and I was like, hey, what's up, man? Smacked him on the ass. He looks over his shoulder like this. And I'm like, not quite like that, but I did take note of the, shall we say, nonverbal communication that was taking place at that point in time. So it was interesting, so to speak. Of course, I would never judge him for it because, hey, dude, I don't hate, and I don't judge. There's just way too much hate in the world right now to just go around hating people for their biology. Silliness. So we had those roommates. Prior to Butler moving in, we had another roommate who was also an Army vet and who turned out to be a hardcore meth and heroin addict. I mean, I thought it was odd that he had this weird scar on the anterior portion of his arm, like right in the antecubital area. And I was like, I didn't really think much of it, and he kind of covered it up a lot. So I was just like, maybe he's a burn victim. He's in the army, so it's possible shit could have fucking blown up. He got some shrapnel, got burned. Who knows? I don't know. He was a bit odd, though. Honestly, he seemed like he would have been the awkward dude in the class that nobody really got along with, and they just didn't like him because of, number one, the way he looked, and number two, the way he communicated, or a lack of communicated with other people, because he did seem to lack a lot of personal skills. At least when I met him anyway. I don't know how he was when he was younger or growing up, but that's just kind of how I see his character. Un momento, I'm getting a bit parched. Actually getting kind of hungry too. When my girl wakes up, I want to get some food. That's tempting. Shit. Well, she's going to be asleep for a while. Still on that Chinese time zone sleepy. Maybe I'll film some workout videos later. I don't know. Why not? Stay up, do some of that. Okay, but anyway, back to the story. Awkward kid. Not even good looking. Funky body posture as well. Really bad body posture. Kind of punched over. Lack of confidence in his stare or his gaze would be kind of down at a 45 to, I don't know. It wouldn't be 45, but, just a downward gaze. Kind of difficult to look people in the eye confidently when speaking to other people. He just kind of reminds me of a guy I know back home. If you've seen Wedding Crashers, remember the gay kid? How he would kind of awkwardly dart his eyes around and look at people out of the corner of his eyes. Kind of like that, but not as energetic, more lethargic in the way he would do it. So yeah, that's pretty much the way he behaved. He seemed nice though, and again, people seem nice when they want to seem nice, and you just never know, especially with drug addicts. And I know that from a lot of experience because, not obviously, but I said this in another video that no longer exists, but my own father was a heroin addict, and my mother, he was probably addicted to everything, to be honest with you, but his biggest thing was, I believe, heroin, because he also had one of those scars. Of course, the excuse I got as a child when I saw him, because he had disappeared for a long time. I don't know what happened to him, or what he did, or what was going on. The story I was told is he went back east to look for work in construction, because he was a construction worker, and for a while when we were growing up, he had a bricklaying business and concrete company, and which I was just little slave labor. That's what I was doing when I was a kid. Put to work it. Lay those bricks, you little bastard. Well, technically I was a bastard because they weren't married. I don't take offense to it. Especially when people go, you son of a bitch. I'm like, yeah, she kind of is. It's funny because my mom, she one time she was higher than fucking Moses or Jesus or Yahweh. And she got pissed off at me for something. I don't remember what it was. I was being a smartass. And it wasn't difficult to be a smartass in those situations because I just saw the folly in her decisions and knew that she was heading, I don't know why, but I've always kind of had a bit of an intuition about paths to take in life, and for the most part I typically tend to make the right decision that's going to get me to a better place. And when I see others doing things that aren't going to enhance their experience here, it kind of makes me feel a bit awkward inside, because it's it's not really a very smart decision, I don't think, I wouldn't feel comfortable, doing that, and I wouldn't pass judgment on them for making whatever decision they make. They are their own person. But if I were in their shoes, I would not make the decisions they were making. And so I had pointed out a lot of the errors that she was making in her life, and not in a nice way, I think in a very blunt, cold way, terse, if you will. And she didn't take too kindly of it, if you know what I mean. And she going, "You little son of a bitch! And I was like, you know what? I might be, or I am. I don't know. I can't. It's possible. And she was like, "Urgh," and she fist pumped me, boom, right in the jaw. Oh, mama, 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 mama. One time, I had a construction job to help pay out over the summer with not my father's company, actually my friend's father's construction company, pouring concrete. And so, I'm in the ditches, bending rebar and pouring footing and setting the little, I don't know, the planks along the side. It's like a molding so that they can, basically, if you're building like a home, you need to have the concrete, in that little maze thing. I don't know what you call it, but anyway, so that's what I was doing to help pay the bills and keep the lights on in the home. When I was in high school, I think I was like 16. And where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, my mom. So I broke my hand on the job, and my mom was already pretty far gone with her meth addiction at that time. And so, I'm here, and I'm just, in searing pain, with the shattered bones in my hand, and the foreman, the guy who's basically my boss, lent me his cell phone at the time, and I called my mom because obviously I'm on the job site, and the foreman was kind of like, well, we're not leaving until we're done, so call your mom and have her pick you up. And I'm a 16-year-old kid, so construction people, they typically don't like to fuck around with other people's nonsense and bullshit. They're kind of like, get the fucking job done and let's get the fuck out of here type kind of, very straight to the point, no softness about them in a lot of ways. I would just say every even in my own family, my uncles and my father, and they were all doing construction, and they were all total assholes all the time. Whenever you were working with them, out of the job, they were a bit more calm about it, but on the job, they were total douche baggerinos, like the hefty cinch sack baggerinos, just full of douche, all douche, skadoosh, and skadoosh, and skadoosh, just craziness. But yeah, so they've got their mind on the money and the money on their mind, and they're doing their thing, and they're not gonna fucking take some time out for some stupid kid who broke his fucking hand on the job. They're kind of like, deal with it, fucker. And so he got me the phone. I called my mother, and she was oddly concerned. I thought there would be a bit of concern, but not like, a sappy kind of like, oh my God, I care about you so much and love you, because she's really never been like that to me ever, unless in front of other people, in like a kind of a showy way, you know what I mean, like a display, but typically she would be like, whatever, fuck you, I don't care, suck it up, put a band-aid on it, you pussy, basically. But in crueler terms, because she liked to really drive home the point that you are lower than primordial ooze that hadn't yet congealed into any sort of DNA type kind of anything protozoic form. But no, so yeah, she's kind of a cunty woman. And so, she was oddly concerned when I called her from the job site, and she's like, "Oh my God," because I broke my hand on the job. She's like, "Oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay? Do you need me to come pick you up? Where are you? And then I'm like, I'm thinking I'm talking to my mother, right? And I'm thinking she's actually talking to me. You come to think about it, she thought I was her boyfriend at the time, and she then found out, I don't remember how the conversation went, but she found out, I think I must have alluded to me being obviously who I was in relation to her, and mind you, I was working this stupid job to fucking help out with the house and the bills because the lights were getting shut off because she was missing so much work at that time due to her drug addiction. So she, you know, 180 flips the whole thing. You know, like, oh my, all right. Well, this is literally what she said as soon as she found out it was me. Well, I'm taking a nap. Bye. Not even joking. That's what she. You know, at that point in time, you know, I mean, I'm a 16-year-old kid, and God, I fucking hate crying in front of people. I really do. You know, because, you know, I was raised in kind of a shitty situation, and, you know, when you show weakness, that's when the fucking hyenas come out, and that's when the jackals eat your lunch. So I couldn't hold it back. I just started bawling my eyes out like a fucking baby. I mean, not like a baby, but it was more like a manly, like, sob, like you just couldn't hold it back. It was just, you know, like, just, you're trying to hold that, you know, stiff upper lip, but they're just coming out. They're just welling out of your eyes, and that's how I felt. Eventually, they did finish the job at the work site for that day, and the foreman, my boss, did take me to the hospital, and I did go into surgery. They had, I mean, thankfully, I was covered under workman's comp because, you know, I mean, I was a legal employee of my friend's father's construction company, and so I was covered under workman's comp, and they had insurance and all that good stuff, so I was taken care of. I went to the hospital. They did the surgery thing where they, you know, where they pull the bones back into place, and then they, you know, cast you up, but I only had a half of a cast, so I didn't get the full, you know, the full cool, like, you know, hey, sign my cast type kind of. I got like a half cast, and then they wrapped it with, like, it was like a fiberglass type kind of thing, like where they just mold it there. Anyway, and then they wrapped it with like ace bandage or something like that. I don't even remember. I think it was ace bandage actually. I suppose those things have benefits and drawbacks because you can take them off and clean your hand and whatnot. But, you know, again, it's fairly susceptible to re-injury, which is what ended up happening because I was on the phone with my girlfriend who lived like on the opposite side of civilization in the Phoenix metro area that time, and you know, obviously I'm fairly down. I had just broken my hand. I found out that my mother cared a lot less about me than I actually thought that she didn't care about me, because I already knew that, or I had a fairly decent assumptions that she didn't care a great deal about me as a human being. And, you know, then finding it was even less than that. So I'm talking to my girlfriend, trying to, you know, maybe just cheer myself up. She's like, I need to use the phone. I'm like, okay, just give me a minute, please. Can I, you know, I need to use the phone now. She grabs the phone. She like tries to yank it out of my hand, right? And so what's your natural reaction whenever someone tries to yank? You just go, you know, you do that, like a startled reaction. I didn't even think about it, really. But I did, and so the first thing she does is she grabs my fingers, twists them, and pulls and yanks. And then we're talking, this is just a few days after I had my the bones in my hand reset. And so yeah, I mean, my hand swelled up to the size of like a grapefruit, I think. I didn't really go to the hospital at that point in time. I actually had another accident after that.
Oh, really? I thought you were just watching. You can't just jump in and out as your heart sees fit.
No.
It's okay. Look, I changed my mind, okay?
I don't actually remember what happened. I think, no, that other accident didn't cause any problems to the head because the damage she had done to my hand was she had caused all the bones that had been reset to come apart. And the doctor had to go back in, reset all the bones, and shoot pins through my hand in order to keep the bones in place. And then I got, you know, the cool full cast, and I didn't get any signatures though, which is, you know, I kind of bummed about that. Although when I got the cast taken off, it was really stinky, so I don't know if I would have actually kept it anyway. It smelled like fucking horror. So yeah, where was I going? Heroin addict, my roommate. His name was Jeff.
It's fun.
But he was primarily, at least when he was here, doing meth. And I guess from what I was told by the police officers involved with his removal from my home, and the caseworkers that were dealing with him, because we had him committed to a treatment facility due to him being a danger to himself and to others. And it was all me and all my roommates, and he had been like acting bizarre and doing threatening shit. So we had to go to court and deal with that, get restraining orders, whole 9 yards, and then craziness. Anyway, so he's doing this meth, and he like I said again, he's the bizarre guy, and so he started acting very strangely at times. He would always be kind of disheveled, and he would always walk out of his room, and he'd be like looking in the look in his eyes was as if he was staring into a very bright sun spotlight, just like and his hair was always messed up, and he was always, again, he always had that kind of like hunched over posture, and it did never really seem as if he was really present when you were speaking to him. And so, we kind of got a bit more weirded out little by little, and then he started kind of like getting these kind of paranoid type kind of delusions about people either going into his room or messing with his cat or like spitting in his drinks or something like that. And we're just like, dude, this guy is like really creepy. And then he had a firearm, not a big deal, it was a pellet gun. And you can't, obviously you're not going to kill somebody with a pellet gun, but you can actually shoot somebody in the eye and cause a fair bit of damage. And he was really irresponsible with that thing, so I guess he would get pissed off whenever. Like, I don't know what was going on in his little brain, but he would get pissed off, and you just go outside and just start randomly just popping off pellets all over the place. And, we live in a neighborhood that's like, it's got kids and shit like that, and we had 2 dogs at the time. One of my dogs passed, but at the time we had 2, and, I love my dogs. And I don't want to see them get injured by getting shot with a pellet. That's, not cool. I don't think any pet owner who loves their pets wants that to happen to them. So, we started feeling really uncomfortable with his presence, and so we started kind of confronting him. Also, he was smoking out in the house. We told him, there's no smoking in the house. He knew there was no smoking in the house. Cigarettes or other, And so he was not only smoking cigarettes in the house, which is just blatant fucking disrespect, he was also like fucking toking up ganja, and it's like, hey, listen, I don't want my house smelling like a fucking pothead house. And hey, if you guys are into smoking weed, cool, more power to you, but I don't like the scent of that, and I don't want my house to smell like that. And the way our air conditioning system is set up in the house, it just permeates the entire house. The entire house was just inundated with this stench of weed, and I hate that smell. I know a lot of people like it. I fucking hate it. It literally makes me nauseous.
I think everyone's ready to do something else.
And
Let's not stop like this. We should. Lights over, Ren. I want. And to celebrate.
sorry. Not to mention, I'm also quite allergic to that like scent. It makes me have like really bad, like my eyes get incredibly itchy and my nose starts to run, and I start to sneeze and I get congested. So I don't want anything to do with that garbage in my home. And I'm like, yo, bro, do you smell any? Like, I text him on the phone, hey, bro, do you smell anything burning? And he texts me back, no, I don't smell anything. Lying through like the teeth, lying through the cavity lined enamel, which would pass as something that we would rudimentarily classify as teeth in the skull of this human being. No, he had teeth. They were nasty and yellow, but I don't think they were cavity ridden. Maybe they were, I just didn't see them. But anyway, so he would oftentimes lie, and we were like, yo, dude, no, I smell either cigarette smoke or cigarette smoke, burning plastic, or weed. And he would deny it up and down, and we're like, dude, listen, you're fucking smoking weed, you're smoking in the house, don't smoke in the house, period. Go smoke outside. That was one of the parameters of living here, And I was nice about, like, really super nice about it, like, right off the bat, I was like, hey, bro, if you could just, smoke outside, please, because, like, makes the house smell bad. Thanks, man, appreciate it, dude. And I was like that for a while, because, I don't know, I guess I'm just a respectful individual, even when people are being kind of shitheads. And I don't like ball busting. It's not really something that I find pleasure in. So, eventually I had to get to the point where it's like, yo, dude, you need to knock this shit the fuck off. You need to smoke outside. Do not smoke in here. No exceptions. Period. Your fucking room smells like shit. You need to clean it. It's making the whole house stink. And I hate getting put, up to that point, but there's just those people that are not going to. They're not going to give you any respect until you get to that point. And it's almost as if it's their mission to see how far they can push you and where your limit is, what is your point. And I've ran into quite a few of those people. And I don't understand what it is with them and, that being something that they need to do, but who knows, man? That's just like their fucking Cheerios and fucking sugar and milk, you know what I mean? But yeah, no, I had to confront him, and he started getting kind of belligerent, and I'm like, yo, dude, if you want to, take this up a notch, let's go for it. And, he backed down, because he's a little guy, and, he kind of went around the bush about, being kind of passive aggressive, but also being overtly aggressive with his like insults and then saying that it didn't say in the ad that there was no smoking allowed, and he started making discrepancies about the rent, and it's like, dude, you know what the rent is? You've been paying the same rent since you've been here. I don't know why you're coming up with this other number, which was significantly less than what the agreed upon amount is, and also what was in the ad online. And so in one of my roommates even confirmed it to him, and they're like, yeah, it's this much. And what? I need to see a copy of that ad. Show me a copy of that ad. I could have sworn it was blah 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 blah. And maybe he could have sworn it was, because maybe he was just cuckoo. Who knows? But we had him removed via SWAT. And they took him down to the Arizona State Hospital, which is a mental institution, and not a pleasant one, I don't think, because when we tried to have him served via process server via Phoenix Police Department, the officer could not serve him the restraining order because he was too sedated from an outburst he had, and obviously they had to restrain him, so which involves like a bunch of staff members tackling the person and then taking him into a room and then tying him to like a mattress or something like that, so that he can't harm himself or other people, and then they inject you with a bunch of tranquilizers so that you basically drool on yourself and pass out. Don't ask me how I know this. Let me just say that my life growing up very early was not rosy. Okay, anyway, so but in Arizona State Hospital, it's degrees worse, because they deal with very crazy people, and they just, everything for them is drugs. They don't really care to de-escalate situations. So it's like, nope, you know what, nope, trank them, put them in, like in Terminator 2, where they're like tranking Linda Hamilton. Very similar to that, if not actually verbatim like that. I mean, he wasn't quoting the end of the world, but that's how the staff would react. So yeah, that's what happened with Jeff. And there was a whole thing about him getting his stuff out of there. Of course, we had to clean his room, which was, I can't tell you, like, he was storing jugs of his urine in the closet. Don't ask me why. I don't know. Crazy people, man. He had also I think like 24-ounce bottles full of like spit because he would chew. He had like crystal meth rocks all over the place. He had syringes, glass pipe. He spilled lots of alcohol on the carpet. He had a cat, and a neglected cat in the room, which I said that'd be okay, having the cat. I will never do again. If anybody ever has a cat, I don't give a shit if it's a good cat or not, bring it in the house. I like cats, but they are nasty. They stink. They mark. Their poops and their pisses are just unpleasant. Anyway, and I grew up with cats. I like cats. They're neat animals, but I just don't want to live with a cat. And I'm allergic to them. I have been my entire life, of which my mom did not give a shit about. So anyway, no cats for me. But he had the cat, and it was neglected. There was no food in the room. There was no litter in the litter box. I guess the cat was just pissing wherever the fuck it wanted to, because the room did smell like cat piss. Like, when a cat marks its territory, it's very pungent. And that's what the room smelled like. So it took us an incredibly long time to rug doctor the shit out of that room so that it didn't smell like liquid garbage and homeless breath. And it tipped over porta potty at like Woodstock. I wasn't at Woodstock. I'm not that old. I'm just being dramatic. But it was bad. We had to clean the walls because he was smoking in his room, and he's covered up his vents so that the smoke would hopefully not permeate the rest of the house. I was like, dude, if you want to fucking smoke a joint, go outside. I don't care. Smoke a joint. Who gives a fuck? Just don't do it in the house. For whatever reason, he couldn't be troubled to do that. So he just closed up his vents. And like a 15-year-old rebelling against his parents, he just starts toking up on his weed in the room, of which I don't give a fuck about. If you want to get high, but don't do it in the fucking house because it stinks. And then we have to smell it. But it was so strong, the walls had the soot of I guess I could probably carbon residue, imagine. I don't really know. Whatever it was when you smoke, and we had to mop. We bought like one of those sponge mops, and we had to literally mop the walls to get them to not be like grimy. And then he had spilt wine on the carpet, red wine, and it's light beige carpet. That was a nightmare. And there was the cat urine, and there was like ink, and obviously like shoe, like wherever he had been traipsing on, he didn't give a crap about because he would just walk through it. And there was like cigarette butts, and it was horrible. Holy but Jesus. So yeah, I mean that was probably the worst roommate situation I've had here in this house. Well, no, okay, it's kind of like a toss-up between him and one of my ex-co-worker friends. Lawrence DeWanch, I don't care if you're seeing this message, you're a douchebag and you know it. You can't not deny it. You are probably one of the most narcissistic assholes I've ever met. I hope you are watching. It's probably not, though, because you're too narcissistic to pay attention to anything but yourself in the mirror while you're blowing kissy faces and flexing your guns.
Easier said than done.
But the most self-centered, narcissistic, backstabbing, untrustworthy, slimy motherfucker I've ever known in my life, Lawrence DeWanch. I thought he was my friend for the longest fucking time because we did bro out. And I think broing out is not good for me. Because, again, me broing out is honestly kind of fake because I think it's kind of fun to bro out, but I am, at the very heart of me, I am a nerd. I don't really behave like that unless I feel it's expected of me in a certain social situation to do so because that's what they see. Whatever, you do when in Rome, right? But we broed out and we, kind of got along. We became gym buddies and we worked together and we were kind of like, I would say that people probably saw us, and they probably saw us as like the douchey clique, you know what I mean? guys there. I mean, but they're honestly like in Scottsdale at LA Fitness. There's nothing but douchey clicks all over the place. You have either their chick douchey clicks, chick douchey clits. Actually, what would you call a douchey chick click? I don't know. I mean, what would you call that? Feel free to tell me because I don't know. But I'm just gonna call them chick douchey clicks. And dude douchey clicks, like the club guys, you know what I mean? That's all that's there. It's fucking horrible, and that's why I quit going to gyms around here because you can't get away from it. So I just bought the gym and put it in my house. But yeah, no, so that's what we were most likely viewed as by everyone, or at least just another, we're another variant of another click douchey. Who's like, oh, that's that douchey click. Well, we're this douchey click, so yeah. They all differentiate their douchiness between one another. But yeah, you know, so we had been kind of like superficially friends for a while, and I kind of like felt the superficiality between it because there was never like a mutual kind of like give and take that you would really experience in most friendships, at least most healthy friendships. Whoa, what the? Hold on a second. Okay, never mind. It calmed down. So yeah, you know, it was always kind of like one-sided. Like we do what he wants to do, we go where he wants to do. Like if he can't do it, then it's like, oh man, sorry, I can't do that. You know, I'm expecting. And then it always kind of would expect you to go out of your way to do shit for him, like pick him up, do errands for him, do things for him. You know what I mean? Just kind of, but like not like he would come off like, hey man, you want to come by and scoop me up, bro? I'm thinking to myself, like, nah, not really, but, you know, I'm not an asshole, so okay. But, yeah, you know, he definitely did not mind inconveniencing anybody else to make his position just slightly better. And he will backstab anybody to get slightly ahead. So, fuck that guy. Lawrence Wunsch, you're a douche. Fuck you. You know it. Fuck you. I think that's enough said about him. But, you know, aside from him, Jeff was probably the worst experience I'd had with the roommates in the in the house. So the rest of the other roommates are just kind of like dicky people or just kind of assholey people. And we did have one girl whose name was, I'm going to say Joanna. You know, she knows what she is. I mean, at least maybe she doesn't know what she is. She might be completely oblivious of her situation because it didn't seem as though she understood the limitations of her mental capacity and ability to function in society on you know, a good enough level to really consider it functional. Hold on. Hello. Hello. Anybody there? I can go get him for you or see if he's here. I'm not sure. You want me to take a message? Are you sure? I mean, I don't want him to get pissed off. I'm answering his phone.
Anybody behind? They're here somewhere. This is not.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
That's what I always do whenever those stupid salespeople call. So yeah, we were speaking about who were we speaking? Gosh, I can't fucking remember. Oh, Joanna. So you know, her situation was that she was a 5'7", severely epileptic, 295-pound, strawberry blonde female with like the, you know, the little brown freckles all over the place, with knee problems at 20 years old, mouthful of big huge braces, and cold sores all the way around her lips. Ugh. Super gross. She had a number of health issues. And one of them was, I believe, a hormonal thing. And so I guess if she sweats, and she had a job that made her, actually she probably sweat all the time, but when she would sweat, she would reek an incredibly foul odor that I cannot describe. in words. But if she was on one end of the room, and the living room in my house is actually a decent, it's almost like the length of the entire house, or width of the entire house, whatever dimension it is. It goes across the entire house. If she's on one end of the house, was on one end of the house, the entire living room would smell that smell, and not like a little bit, but like up in your nostrils, like touching your olfactory sensors. Very pungent, very offensive, and it was difficult to deal with. Not only that, but she had very awkward, like, social behaviors. Like, she picked her nose frequently, and then she would touch things. One time, I was doing some research in the living room at the table. I had just eaten and taken some of my supplements, and I had some like spices out for whatever I had eaten. I don't know what it was. But she came in, and I was like, "Hey, what's up, Joanna?" Oh, not much.
I have to say,
Literally, verbatim,
how'd you do that?
how she talks. Really, what's going on? You don't sound like you're having a good day.
Cool.
Oh, people at work are just being mean to me. Well, what's going on? Oh, my managers think I need to work a little faster, and I'm working as fast as humanly possible.
Station code for service.
I've done this job before in Minnesota, and I know what it takes to do a good job. And if they want me to work faster, I won't be able to do it, and it's not humanly possible. And they want me to basically just do a bad job and work faster. And I'm like, on face. I'm like, First of all, she came from a very small town, which I guess urgency was not a huge priority. So yeah, I mean, she was doing housekeeping and front desk, like concierge type kind of work. And number one, she cannot communicate with other people. She stutters very badly, ums and buts and ums and buts and ums, and then she circles around and around with the information that she's already given you, and she has a hard time progressing with her linear train of thought. And I guess maybe that's part of the epilepsy, or maybe that's part of something else. I don't know. I really think that she had other developmental deficiencies within her. Jiminy freaking Christmas! Why is it so loud? Fudge cook. Hang on, I'm gonna turn that sucker down.
Someone's calling on the other line. Just hold on. I'm gonna see who it is.
Okay, but make it quick, seriously.
Shut up. Nobody likes you. Brat. Okay. Gosh, it's so annoying. The one thing about videos on YouTube is I don't like how the volume can go up and down so drastically with a lot of things. I guess it's because we're not professionals. Well, oh well. Excuse me. Again, mental deficiencies on some level. I don't know what types. One of my rumors is like, I don't know, it's kind of like borderline Asperger's, or it almost seemed like a bit of Down's syndrome, but she didn't look like a Down's person. She had, fairly normal, features, just very large features and kind of gross features, particularly with the cold sores. And she always had her mouth open like this, and she kind of office space. The guy, I don't know what his name is, but okay, I'm gonna burn it. That stare with the thick glasses, those were her eyes, like. And it was really frustrating because when you're trying to talk to her about something very important, that's the look she gives you. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That was the response for everything. Oh, okay. It was never really okay though. Never okay. It was mostly like, when she says, "Oh, okay," you're kind of like, we're fucked. But it's not that she wasn't a nice girl. She was very nice, very sweet, good heart, just very disgusting. No social skills, no just no social skills really, no ability to communicate on a functional level with other people in a way that would allow her to actually progress in any real logical manner of information sharing, even on just like a very simple level, because everything is like it's just almost unintelligible with her. And just, I mean, honestly, I don't even know if she knows what she's saying half the time. So, she's working at this thing, and she's doing the front desk or concierge or whatever. I think it was like the Holiday Inn here in downtown. It's pretty busy. It's not like in New York or whatever, but it's busy enough to where like people come in, they need to know their information. They need to know it like right away. So if they ask, "Where's the airport from here?" You got to know. And she was from out of town. She didn't know the area at all. So she could never answer anybody's question. So they immediately kicked her over to full-time housekeeping. And she was a 295-pound woman with knee problems who felt that she was going as fast as humanly possible because she's already done the job in her small town, in her very small motel that was there in her small town. And so she had prior experience with it, and she knows what it takes. That job did not last long. I'm not gonna go too far in, but one of the days she came home and did the whole thing that I just did with the talking and whatnot, and she explained the whole situation. So then I'm like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, maybe you might want to start looking for another job, because it's not worth putting up with that type of frustration if they're going to be mean to you. And she's like, oh, okay, I know. So she's sitting there for a moment. I'm on the computer. I've got my, stuff out, my various things that I'd used in my meal and whatnot. She starts picking her nose, like first knuckle deep. I don't know. Is this the first knuckle? This knuckle deep. Oh, like I'm like, damn, man, you're gonna be careful, man. You're gonna be like touching brain in a minute. You're gonna be tickling that frontal lobe. But no, for real, it's just she's picking her nose disgustingly at the dining table. And then she proceeds to touch the stuff. She's just randomly, I don't know why she felt possessed to do so, but she just like, I was like, I'm just gonna move these out of the way for you, okay? Just like that, it's like, I'm just gonna put these over here, and then later probably burn them. But I don't know. So that was one of the grossest things that I'd witnessed. No, Butler had witnessed, for whatever reason, she just really latched on to Butler and would get up into his bed and hang out with him and, chit chat with him. And for whatever reason, Butler was tolerant of this behavior. And I was like, dude, if you're not comfortable with her being there, tell her, let her know. She's not all there. You have to explain everything to her and, be nice about it, but be very clear and concise with your wording so she understands. He's like, no, well, I don't want to be an asshole. And I'm like, all right, man, that's cool. And so he told me one time that she was, I guess, picking scabs off her legs or something off of her body, but some sort of bodily scab, scaly thing. And Butler is a very prissy, closeted gay male. Kind of like the uppity white prissy, oh my god, I'm a debutante type kind of, but in a very gay way. It's hard to explain it. I don't really know how to do it, but super effeminate, very, very, what's the word? He's very exact about the way he wants things done. He fluffs his pillows just so. He creases his pants just so. He has the sheets laid on his bed just so. He's so precise, very particular. That's the word I was looking for. So very particular. So she's getting in his bed. She's picking off all these nasty bodily sheddings. And he's like, okay, you need to stop doing that right now. And then Butler says, she goes, what? And his retort was, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Apparently, from what Butler said, she still didn't seem to really get it. So, and I don't put it past her for not getting it because she didn't seem to get a lot of things. But yeah, so that wasn't like an awful experience, just an awkward experience because whenever she was in the house, if you had company over, she would be there in everybody else's business. Like, oh, I remember one time by blah 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 blah. Oh well, thank you for sharing it. We really appreciate. I mean, it's not really relevant to what we're talking about, but that's really great to know that you remember one time. Blah 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 blah. Thank you. Anyway, we're talking about something. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, roommates, man. I think that's been the gist of the ones that I really care to talk about. The other ones were just kind of like me. Oh, well, I did have one fun roommate. I mean, he was fun in a way, but he's kind of like an old drunk. I'm just going to tell the time that we took him out, me and my douchey roommate at that time. This guy was just kind of quiet, kept to himself, but he was a very closeted douche. Like, he was very smug about things, and, he was not like the one that would go out and tell you that he thinks you're stupid. He would just kind of roll his eyes behind your back and do the heavy sigh, like, you know, kind of like the, holier than thou art type kind of personality. Like, you're a loser, you don't do anything with your life. I mean, even though I was doing lots of things with his life, it's just he, was a different set of mind. Like, he has the type of, like, you have to work 9 to 5, a regular 9 to 5, and this sort of, then that and the other thing. And mine is like, no, I want to use my brain to make money and come up with ideas, and I want to study and go to school and invest in my intellect in that way. And that he just couldn't see the real benefit in that. And he was a military guy, and he was a very average person. And typically, it seems like average people do really well at that because you tell them what to do and they do it. They don't question. It's just like they follow the instructions to the T. They're not smart enough really to question your authority, and then they're not dumb enough to question your authority. So they go right down the middle. And they do everything, right down the middle, just like it's told. But anyway, so we took Mark out. That's his name, Mark, to the Cheesecake Factory. And now Mark is a hardcore functioning alcoholic. Like, okay, he gets up, goes to work in the morning, does his job as a groundskeeper / janitor / multi-purpose all around type kind of guy at the high school, Saguaro High School, where close to where we live, and rides his 10-speed bicycle to the corner store, grabs 2 6-packs of beer or whatever he can carry, and then bikes home, and then he starts drinking until he passes out drunk. And that's his everyday routine. So when we took him to the Cheesecake Factory, we got him just hammered off a 151 Bacardi around like 3 double shots in a row. We're like, boom, boom, boom. He was done. Zell Washington, like, for real. The cows came home. You know what I mean? Fat lady song. It's over. You know what I mean? Stick a fork in it. It's done. It's cooked. So he was kind of walking around in North Scottsdale, the Cheesecake Factory, randomly talking to families. Oh, hey, how you doing? It's my birthday today. My roommates take me out to my birthday, Cheesecake Factory. Blah, 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 blah. And he is a talker. Like, and when he gets drunk, he talks even more. It's like, some people, they slow down a bit, but he's like the hyper kind of like wants to socialize drunk. And he's relatively jovial and fun to be around when he's drunk because he says and does funny shit. Like, honestly, if you had a camera crew following him around and filming it and putting it on YouTube, it'd be the most popular thing on the planet because you'll never see funnier things ever happen in your life. And so we got home. Basically, the manager told us we had to take our drunk friend home because he was bothering the customers. It's not that kind of place. So we got our check, we paid, got home, blitzed out of his mind, goes to the fridge, cracks open a beer, walks straight into the living room, loses his balance over the couch. And now the way we had the couch was like kind of in a U, and then we had a coffee table kind of configured right in the center of the U. That, I mean, just barely enough room for like almost like your feet and your knees, you know, all the way around. So he loses his balance over the couch, does a barrel roll over the couch, somehow keeps his beer upright the entire time. He's stuck in between the couch and the coffee table, upside down, with his beer held aloft his head, upright. Hey, somebody come get my beer! Give me fucking, oh man, that was funny. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. Not ever gonna go anywhere, but like, you know, he's a good spirited guy. He does a lot of stupid shit, but he means no ill will. And, you know, you can't fault him for that. Whatever. You know, he's paid his dues and he's lived his life the way he wants to. I think that's all I want to talk about today. So, well, hey, thanks for sticking around if you did stick around. And drop back by. I don't know if you want to subscribe, go for it. If not, it's all good. I'm not really doing this for that anyway, so I don't know. If I can figure out, oh shit, wrong fucking control. Guess I can never figure these damn things out. Blast you! How dare you defy me! Get in my mouth. Oh wait, hold on. Oh shit, right. It's the fucking computer. I don't know how anything works. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. I touch nothing. I see nothing. Is it working? Okay. Well, oh, still working there. Well, look at that. An hour and 40 minutes of just random talking about just nonsensical, actually not nonsensical stuff. It's actually quite legitimate things. But hey, thanks for sticking around. Now I'll see you guys later. And stop it.